Are we ready?
I am.
Okay. So each year, 5% to 20% of the United States population gets diagnosed with the flu. This is according to the article, What Are the Odds of Getting the Flu?, which is published in 2015 from WebMD.com. So, 2 weeks ago, I was unfortunate to be one of those people, and I had the flu. And when I went home for the weekend, I went to the doctor's office. And as I was sitting in the waiting room, I saw a poster on the wall that made me really interested. It said that more people die from flu-like symptoms than from breast cancer each year. So, astonished by this, I decided to look it up. And according to constitutionalhealth.com, in 2013, 56,979 people died from a flu-like illness. In 2016, according to cancer.gov, 40,450 people died from breast cancer. So, it's true, at least for those years, that more people died from flu-like symptoms than from cancer. The difference is that the flu can be prevented. So my plan is to educate you guys on what the flu is, the symptoms of it, and how to prevent yourself from getting it. So what exactly is the flu? Well, the flu is a respiratory infection caused by a virus. This right here is a picture of what a flu virus might look like. And this is according to Flu, Symptoms, Diagnosis, and Prevention by Christian Nordquist from medicalnewstoday.com. There's a difference between colds and flus, as colds do not cause you to have a fever or headaches, while flu will. Flus don't cause you to have an upset stomach, and the stomach flu is not really a flu at all. It's just something that people call it. And that's according to the article Flu from medicineplus.gov from January 2017. So, the flu is very contagious, and you can get the flu from either getting sneezed on, coughed on, or something as little as a handshake with someone who has the flu. But the interesting about it is you're contagious 1 to 2 days before you even realize that you have the symptoms. So you could pass the flu onto someone else without even knowing that you even had the flu yourself, which I thought was really interesting. So, moving on. What are the symptoms of the flu? There are many symptoms of the flu. The main ones, according to the article Flu, Symptoms, and Complications from the Center for Disease Control and Prevention at cdc.gov, say that the main symptoms include fever, chills, sore throat, runny nose, body aches, headaches, and fatigue. And in some cases, mainly with children, that can even include vomiting. But with these symptoms, they usually last about up to a week, maybe up to 2 weeks. But other complications can come from the flu, especially with people who are older than 65, women who are pregnant, or even children. Now, the flu can turn into either moderate diseases all the way up to severe diseases. An example of a moderate disease would be something like mild, like an ear infection or a sinus infection, which is what I ended up getting, an ear infection. And I just needed antibiotics for that, and that got taken care of. But something more severe could be something like pneumonia, which in many cases ends with death. So that's not good. Okay, so how do you prevent yourself from getting the flu? According to the article Flu Shot Facts and Side Effects by Rachel Rettner from livescience.com, the best way to prevent yourself from getting the flu is to get vaccinated. Now, in this picture, you can see that there's 2 ways to get vaccinated from the flu. You can either get it with a needle injection or the nasal spray injection. But as of this past season, 2016 to 2017, the nasal injection is not being given anymore because I guess it hasn't been very successful in the past 3 years, so they stopped giving the nasal one. But you can still get the needle one. The thing about the vaccines is that the virus adapts each year. So the doctors that make the vaccine, they don't really know exactly what it's gonna look like each year, as it's based on what they think it's gonna look like. So, and people who get vaccinated are also 60% less likely to get the flu. And some people say that there's a myth that if you get the flu shot, then you will get the flu. But Dr. Schaffner says that it's a myth, as you can't get the flu from the flu shot. The only reason that some people might get it is because the flu shot doesn't actually start working until 2 weeks after you get the shot. So you could have gotten it in that time before it starts working. So, ultimately, the flu is a terrible disease. From my experience with it, I went from having the flu to an ear infection, and it was just awful. So, I just wanted to educate you all on what the flu is. So you now know exactly what the flu is. You know the symptoms of the flu, and you know how to prevent the flu. So to conclude, I just hope that you take my advice here and do what you can to prevent yourself from getting this terrible disease.